Buckle up, everyone, and welcome to Carpool Rugby League, a show where two rugby league tragics are talking everything rugby league on your way to and from work. I'm Shano.
And I'm the Chameleon.
Welcome aboard and on with the show. Chameleon, great to have you here yet again for another jam-packed week of Carpool Rugby League. Listeners, also great to have you on board. In what was a really interesting week of results last week, certain things we were able to foresee, and other things were out of the blue. So going through those scores, on Thursday, the Bulldogs beat the Raiders 14-10 with what was an absolute try-saving tackle right at the end on the Colonel.
So Connor Tracy
tackle that was just...
Do you know, Shano, that our old buddies at Dally M headquarters,
yeah,
one of them gave him 3 points.
Yep.
That was the guy who watched the game. And the other judge did not score him. He only got 3 points.
Oh, my God.
I've worked it out with the maths that he couldn't have got 2 and 1 just from the way the others were.
No. Wow.
He was awesome, Tracy.
He was outstanding.
Cyclone Tracy last week.
Oh, this is why I'm losing faith in this.
I've long lost it.
Yeah,
But anyway, sorry, man. I interrupted you. Keep going.
We and you know, it's true. It's just ridiculous. How could it be so one-eyed? Like, how can someone do 3 and anyway?
I don't know. Well, one of them got it right. That's the thing.
That's right. Yeah,
one of them got it right, and the other one.
Funnily enough, the person that watched the game. Yeah, just ridiculous. Anyway, your Penny Panthers, Griffo, won 40 points to 4 over the Roosters, and I dare say, I'm not going to say too much about this game because I dare say I've got a gut feeling I know what your grab is. Broncos, The Broncos for the first time in Melbourne for a long time, beat the Storm 18 points to 14. A bit of trouble in Bronco land. We'll talk a bit about that after the grab. Warriors just seem to be doing their thing. 38-12 over the Knights. 38-10, the Dolphins beat the Sharks. The Sharks looked very ordinary in that match. They did not look good at all. South Sydney, 20 points to 16. After the first 10 minutes, you would have thought it'd be a blowout, but the Tigers coming back. Big problems with them, though. Dwayne and Luai look like they're out for an extended period of time. The Eels...
There's been an update there, Shano.
Yeah.
Dwayne, he's named to play this week.
I know. I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening. It's just stupid. You know... Give him a rest.
Got a whole season ahead, and he was in all sorts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The Eels 30, Dragons 20 I think it was 22-20 for the Eels. The Dragons bombed 2 tries.
They don't know how to win. I said it a couple of weeks ago. They simply do not know how to win.
No,
they're trying hard. You give them, 10 out of 10 for effort, but gee, you give them about 2 out of 10 for the smarts. They got no idea.
No, and that
brutalist.
That bomb try. There was actually another one after that they could have scored again. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, just kept going back into there. It's like a 3-man overlap.
They had 4 on 2 and then 3 on 2.
Down in the bin, and it was like I tipped Para, but it was frustrating.
It wasn't it so? I don't care about the Dragons, and even could you imagine being a fan?
Just pass it out, idiots. You got 5 on 2. They go back in the middle.
Yep. It was ugly to watch. Then the Cowboys beat the Titans 30 points to 16, and of course the Manly Warringah Seagulls, they had the draw, so had the bye. Sorry. So looking at the ladder,
it's got a bit of shape about it. I mean, it's early days, but
can I say, I know it is early days. The attack of the Warriors is just outstanding. The defense of the Penrith Panthers, they have 10 points against after 3 matches. That's just
It's less than a try a game.
It's less than a try a game. It's amazing. The Bulldogs also, they've won a 2 in a bye. Storm in 4th, Tigers 5th, Dolphins
Not for long.
6th. No, I don't think so. Rabbits in 7th, Knights are in 8th. You've got Eels, Sharks, Seagulls, Cowboys, Broncos, Raiders, Roosters, Dragons, and Titans. I got a gut feeling the Titans are leaking. The Tigers are leaking a significant amount of points. The team that's leaking points for me, looking at this, and we're only 3 games in, so there's a lot. The team that have leaked a lot of points, and I know they've come up against Penrith last week, is the Roosters. The Roosters are already 100 against. Second only to the Eels, who are 104, but
that's a lot.
Well, that's on one side we're talking about 10 against being less than a try. 100 against, you're looking at nearly 30. Well, you're looking at about 33 points a game against. That's defensively. That's not good, because in the 4 column is 48, and the Roosters are a long way. I know people made light of the Broncos' defense. That's a long way away. Griffo, I sort of alluded to it earlier, and I suppose anyone who watched the game will probably preempt this. What's your grab for the week?
Okay, no surprises. A fellow who's been mentioned by the bloke in a bar as being the best winger of all time, and I can't argue. Brian To'o. He's known for his bulldozing running. He's a great finisher. He's known for getting his side on the front foot with his runs from the backfield. He's never sort of really been known as someone overly blessed with skill. Not that he's not without skill, but he's not been known for it. But he scored a try last week, and I guess most of our listeners would have seen it at some stage, whether watching the game or replays, because it's been replayed a lot. Penrith ran it on the last tackle and got out to To'o. He had a line of Roosters in front of him, so he little grubber along the ground, went through that line, picked up the ball. He had other Roosters players, including principally fullback James Tedesco. He grubbed it again. The ball just sort of came back to him, and he scored one of the great individual tries. Certainly, I mean, he scored some great individual tries, but in a very, very different manner. That double grubber kick, it's not something you see all that often that results in a try. In fact, you might wait another 10 years to see something like that again.
You would wait a long time.
Yes. And now he himself sort of admitted that, it was a bit of a surprise. But, sometimes the ball bounces for you, but it doesn't often bounce for you twice in a row. So well done, Brian To'o. Obviously, this week's grab.
2 things from that I took out of it. Number 1, every now and then To'o does these little things, and usually they're for a repeat set. I challenged someone the other day who said, "Oh, what a fluke!" And then, all right, sure, because you can fluke that in first grade. I said, look, if you go back through Brian To'o and you watch him at the line, he actually has a very good short kicking game. Underrated short kicking game. They quite often gets repeat sets. They quite often pushes the players down. When he's taught himself, as every good winger should, that when you're stuck, put it on the toe, because at the very least you're going to get them in the corner, repeat set.
Yeah,
and he's very good at it. The second,
it was the last, as mentioned.
Yeah.
So he's throwing the dice. It's not like it was early in the count. Early in the count, he just takes the tackle.
You just saw what was in front of him. The other thing with Brian To'o, he burned everyone.
He did. He showed
That's
speed.
the thing for me. When people talk about the try, I go, that guy, not only did he kick the ball, but he ran around and burned arguably two of the quickest guys playing for the Roosters, and scored the try. The Daily M points for this week, and I know I keep harping on it with Penrith, and it's just the way it is. It was, from what I understand, you had Brian To'o got 1 point. This was the one I saw. You got Cleary got 2, Dylan Edwards 3.
Yeah, Milky got some points.
The one I saw, I didn't see the overall one.
Yeah, I'm thinking Cleary got a few.
Yep.
I think he got more than 2.
What I'm saying is one person's vote.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I didn't see the other person's vote. I just only saw one person's vote.
I just sort of worked it out from the total of 12 points that were on offer.
And yet again, we're talking about Dylan Edwards, Nathan Cleary, Brian To'o. Extremely. They're players who are highly experienced players in the NRL. You're looking at what, To'o 27, or thereabouts.
He's late 20s now.
You've got Nathan Cleary,
Nathan Cleary's 28 now.
28.
Yeah, just turned 28.
You've got, these are the guys who are getting the points.
They've been around around for 10 years. Some of these guys started as teenagers.
That's right. And you look at who's getting the points for Penrith. It's not the young tearaway. It's not the 23-year-old player. It's these old heads. And I got to take my hat off to the coach. I really think Ivan's he's working. And you know what? Actually, I got to take my hat off to whoever the strength and conditioning team is, because at 27, To'o showed speed that you go, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not been noted for his speed over the years. I mean, he's not slow, but he's never been, To'o's quick out on the wing.
He was. They're looking very damaging, the Penrith Panthers, and rightly so. A very good grab of the week. One team that takes takes a game on Friday as part of the Queensland Brisbane doubleheader is the Broncos. Broncos are without a defensive coach, so Ben Teo quit sensationally yesterday as their defensive coach. In sort of interesting circumstances, you've got Maguire and him had been butting heads of late over the defensive structures of Brisbane. To'o was asked by Slater to join the Queensland team as an assistant coach. Now, Maguire vetoed that. Looking at where Broncos are on the table and looking at their first 3 rounds, I know they won last week. Is this Dolphins game, like every game in the NRL is big, I get it, but if they went down this week, are we starting to think, are we thinking that this isn't the Broncos of last year? Is the fact that people like Payne Haas leaving, Adam Reynolds retiring, are the fractures in the Brisbane Broncos becoming that big that we may see this team be overrun by another team to get in the top 4 this year? Or is it too early to tell?
Well, first, Shane, a couple of things. Tio did ask to be an assistant for the Queensland team, which is obviously a great opportunity. Like he was asked to do the job, and then he went to the Broncos, and they said no. But one thing that doesn't get mentioned a lot is Matt Ballon, who's also part of the coaching staff at the Broncos, is already working for the Maroons. So which club's going to want two of their assistants out for effectively a couple of months?
And the other thing,
not consecutively, but
the other thing, a team at the moment who defensively has not shown a lot in the first 3 rounds.
Well, and who's the defensive coach?
That's right. Yeah.
So, Maguire, I won't say I'm a pro Maguire or against Maguire. Like,
depends if he's coaching New South Wales. I'm very
well. To some degree, yes. But the reality is that he is a highly successful coach.
Yes.
Now, obviously, he's someone who people can take in relatively small doses. But what he can do is go in and get a team, whether it be the Broncos, whether it be the Blues, whether it be the Kiwis. He had success in England.
Yep.
He can get them to reach the pinnacle of whatever it is that they're competing in. So, he won the Origin. Blues hadn't won for a while. They were, 2-0 down. They went up to, Brisbane to take that, which they hadn't done for over a decade. He got the Kiwis to, I think it was a 4 Nations where they thumped the Kangaroos 30-0 or something in the final.
Yep.
He broke the drought at the Rabbitohs after, 40-odd years, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And he broke the drought for the Broncos of over 15 years. Now, if you've got a CV that's got all that on it, you can coach.
100%. And the other thing that's quite interesting that doesn't get a lot of airplay, last year when the playing group wanted to go to him and sort of talk about his coaching style, he more or less said, look, okay, I'll take what you say on board, but there's some non-negotiables. And you have to understand the non-negotiables. And if you work through the non-negotiables, I'll get you a premiership. At the time, the Brisbane Broncos board basically said, if you get us to the 8, we put you here. So your job's safe to here. If you get us to the 4, your job's safe to here. Get us in the grand final, your job's safe to here. You win us a grand final, we'll guarantee your job safe for the contract.
Yeah.
And I think what you're looking at is you're looking at a club that's really interesting. I like to go through forums. Brisbane fans are on Team Maguire.
Mm.
And
I understand why.
And I can understand why. 100% I can understand why. And there's a small part of me that says if you went through the guy's CV, I'll add a couple more to that. He led a team to a record score in the World Club Challenge. So he's a coach that holds that. He's also a coach that holds a 9s competition under his belt. So I know they're minor things, but when you look at it as a whole thing, I think there's a lot of people at the Broncos who are trying to flex their muscle, and I think some of them are on Team Kevy, and I think this whole Team Kevy thing needs to take a seat.
It's ridiculous.
Because Gordon Tallis, he ran his mouth the other day about Adam Reynolds. Well, they've taken. Here we go. I didn't know. My mum told me this. I didn't know this. So he has the media room named after him, the Gordon Tallis media room.
Yeah.
And he got dethroned. It's the Ali Brigginshaw room now.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I was just sick and tired of his
name was removed and
sick and tired of his garbage. Well, good on yous. And why he's got an
Well,
opinion.
it's just a bag of wind. Like,
He is.
when it
And
comes to that.
why, in my opinion, and you don't have an opinion, mate. You're working for the Titans now.
Exactly.
Shut up and work for the Titans. Because right now the Titans, they're in all sorts.
Yeah.
And I got a gut feeling.
A bit of criticism around.
I got a gut
Have a look
feeling
in
the
your own
Dragons might
backyard.
do you this week. So you need to shut up and just do your job. Like Gordon Tallis has far more credentials than I ever will in rugby league. But far out, mate. Come on. Even when your team won, you still can't. You know, like I can't believe you can harvest that much salt from someone's veins. That you still.
Look, he's got a lot of salt.
Oh,
look, Gordon Tallis was a great player.
Oh, great player.
A great
Hated
player
watching
for the
him
Broncos.
play well. Because he'd
great
smash
leader.
us.
All of the above. And he's obviously an incredibly loyal guy, and loyalty is something that I value.
Yeah.
However, that loyalty has completely blinded him.
Yeah.
In regards to the Broncos coaching job. He and some of his mates, including Webke, another club legend, pushed to get Kevin Walters into the job. And eventually, they were successful. Under Kevin Walters, I'd say they were a failure.
Yep.
Now, he had a very ordinary year where they nearly won the Spoon. Second year, they got to the grand final. They lost. So, you almost won the grand. They lost the grand final. They lost the unlosable.
Yep.
So, and then the year after that, it just went downhill again. Now, you can't continually talk someone up and be credible when everyone else knows that he did an ordinary job.
Yeah.
He had two players. Never before have I heard two players from a team come out and say,
openly admit,
they said, Renault coaches the team.
Yeah, that's not great.
Two players said that.
Yeah, that's not great.
Like Kevin Walters, great bloke. Coach, no. Maybe he might be a decent assistant coach.
Good people manager.
Good person. Yeah, it is obviously a great bloke, and they love him. And I appreciate loyalty. But when you are constantly coming out and pushing the barrow of someone, eventually, as I said, they got him a job at the Broncos. It didn't go well. He had a better team when they lost to the Panthers. He had Herbie Farnworth and Thomas Flegler in that side with all the stars they had last year.
Yeah.
So they should have won, but they didn't. Yeah. And then it all unraveled the next year.
Yeah.
And Maguire comes in and they just bagging him, and then he wins a comp, and they sort of maybe don't bag him as much, but then it all ramps up again. And as I said, I'm not neither for nor against Maguire, but he's got the results as a coach, and this nonsense, we criticize Lomax for walking out on the contract. Well, Ben Teo, you've walked out on a contract.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a lot different to Lomax just, throwing his toys out of the cot.
No, that's right.
For whatever reason, mate, you're the assistant coach. You're not the coach. The guy's head who's on the chopping block is the head coach if things don't go well. And, okay, for whatever reason, they had a difference of opinion. He was the defensive coach. Their defense against Hull KR, against the Penrith Panthers, and against the Parramatta Eels was absolutely dreadful. They got, I don't know the total points scored against them, but it was a very, very large amount in those three games. And yes, they scored a lot of points against Hull KR. They came back in that game. They also got a lot of points against the Eels, but their defense cost them the game.
100%.
So maybe Maguire, as the head coach, maybe saying we need to change a few things, maybe he's spot on. But guess what? They won last week. They had that argument about the defence before the game.
Yep.
Not right before the game, but in that week.
The week leading to the game.
This absolute crap that I heard on a podcast a couple of nights ago from a couple of Fox journalists.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
They were making up all this stuff. They said, well, maybe Maguire said this. Maybe Maguire said that.
Maybe.
What are you talking?
Really?
Maybe.
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 Yeah, maybe.
I've never heard as much nonsense. It was Ricky O and Brent Reed.
Yes.
Just saying, oh, he might have said this. He didn't say that. You're just making bullshit up.
And it's funny because they sort of like, then they go on the 360. Oh, this was said, this was said, or this is... What's their new one? They got a new one. This was inferred. It's like, what? Inferred? What's that all about? Anyway.
Can we bring back Chamis? Can we? I won't see one. I don't want to bring some of the others back.
Yeah.
But Chamis would find out.
Chamis
He'd be into it.
Yep, Chamis would do it.
Anyway, look. Journalists, they've got a job to do. But one of their jobs, don't say, well, he might have said this. I've never heard such bullshit. From those two. Yeah. I think it was a Triple M podcast.
Oh, okay.
So NRL Daily or something, Monday night. I usually listen to a podcast while I'm making my lunch for the next day or something,
Yep.
But that was dribble.
Yes.
And guess who they work for? Fox.
Yep.
Who does Gordy work for? Fox. There's a common theme there. They just lose credibility.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Lose credibility.
Yep. Well, watch this space with the Broncos. That's probably the most we'll ever talk about the Broncos in one podcast sitting.
And I'm actually, I think I'm on the Broncos side on this one.
Yeah.
And I don't like the Broncos, but I think they've done the right
that's
thing.
why I brought it up. I just thought, you know what, there's a lot to be said. One other little tidbit I want to bring up. I like watching all kinds of rugby league. The width and breadth. The Reggies this week, New South Wales Cup. Some standout performances. I've got this theory that if you get dropped to New South Wales Cup, you should be the best player in the side. I remember when Isaac Luke got dropped many years ago for South Sydney, and he came on and was just absolutely electric. You look at those players in New South Wales Cup just absolutely carving up. Bronson Sherry last week absolutely carved up for the Canterbury Bulldogs. He had a very, very classy performance. Just showing what he can do. Sean O'Sullivan, incidentally, also did well. Trey Fuller, he did not put a step wrong in Queensland Cup. He had a cracking game. And they won over Redcliffe, won 36-16 over Winner Manly. Shibasaki got dropped. He made 3 tackle busts in about 150 metres. He had a really good game. Davey Moali, again, he was put down there, and he 140 metres. The guy Jed Stewart had a cracking game. So he keeps playing the way he's playing. And look, I'm not saying this because it's my team, but Matt Duffy played for the Rabbitohs last week. He had 250 running metres, 81 post-contact metres, 5 tackle busts and 2 try assists. I really think that he might get a phone call from either the Perth Bears or PNG in the coming weeks or months and may get a start there because he is absolutely carving up. One guy I did watch. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say one guy I'd watched for you guys, and I didn't realise that he was a relation.
South Sydney Rabbitoh?
No, Jesse McLean. The older brother of Casey. Had a great match. He's contracted again to the end of 2028. Isaac Tago got 214 running metres, and ex-Australian schoolboy. Probably, I don't know if he's the understudy to Dylan Edwards, but Jackson Edgar scored 2 tries.
I'm glad to hear that. I haven't seen the highlights of that one.
38 to
But
12 win. Jackson
I was
Edgar.
a bit critical of Edgar in the trial games.
He-
So if he's
he
going
was
well
good.
in COP, I'm very glad to hear that.
Both, Edgar, McLean, that forward pack also for the Panthers New South Wales Cup side. It doesn't matter if you look at it and you go, they look like first graders playing in New South Wales Cup. So, it's
I got a big
good to watch.
question. Not so much a question, Shano, but a Carpool Rugby League favourite who's now running around in the. I think he played lock for the Rabbitohs in reserve grade. Benny Williamson.
Yes.
How did you see the game?
Yeah, it went all right. There was a few.
Went all right.
Yeah. So
good.
Yep.
I noticed because I didn't know the score, so I sort of had a look at the New South Wales Cup results and get the team lists up, and I saw, because I knew he was listed at 19 or something, but it had him starting the game at the lock.
So it was
good to see.
Yeah.
I saw him at the grand final last year, and I was a big Penrith fan, and looked in absolutely tip-top shape, and I said, "You still playing footy?" He said, "Yeah, I've got a contract with the Rabbitohs in the New South Wales Cup." I said, "Oh, good on you, man." So, but Carpool favourite Benny Williamson.
Yeah, not playing this week.
Not playing. Oh, okay.
But I don't know if I can get some because I only saw a few highlights and whatnot, but
would have played a lot of games with Riley Smith.
That's it. There you go. I don't know if we can.
For school.
Yes.
Not all that long ago.
What we got? Ben Williamson in at lock. He played. I'm pretty sure he played the full match. I'm just trying to see if there's any sort of Ben Williamson. Oh, here we go. A few player stats.
If he's listening, shout out Benny. Well done.
He did play 49 meters, 7 runs, and he got some 17 post contact meters. Like I said, 7 hit ups. Yeah, like he looked solid. Like, you know what I mean? Like you.
Yeah, good to see.
You're playing. You know, it's good to see doing well, and there's that, and that. Look, when you look at that South Sydney side, something that there's a lot of young people in that side, and you know, one of the things is that New South Wales Cup side, unlike the winning side of a couple of years ago, which had people like Talis Duncan and the likes playing for them, very much a work in progress. So when you're looking at them, you know, they took down the Magpies 20-12, and you know, in at 13th,
they're having a bit more success in some of the junior reps I've noticed as well.
In at 13th at the moment, they're only win so far, but that's okay. They're having a crack. It's like I said, that's one of the problems with a side like South Sydney and that fringe 8, that really the quality. You know, if you can stay in that 13 every week and start getting solid results just like that one there, you would dare say you'd be a bit of a feature week in, week out, and that's what you want from, you know.
I think one of the things for the Rabbitohs is they're really top heavy with their salary cap with high quality players, which means you're not necessarily going to get as many of that sort of next tier down, which makes it tough to be successful.
That's exactly
in the lower grades.
That's exactly right, and I think Ben was named the week before but didn't play against the Roosters. So for him to get a start this week is a good thing. So I like seeing. I like seeing good people do well, and
he's a good guy.
Take it from us, he's a good guy. He is a good guy. Let's talk some footy. What's coming up? Round 4 on Thursday. We have the Battle of the Birds. Battle of the Birds. The Manly Warringah Seagulls take on the Sydney Roosters, who will have to share their share their location, their home ground in the coming years with South Sydney.
How do you feel about that, Shane?
I want to say something without sounding like an awful human being. I like it from the fact as a member. 3 of our games a year are taken away to places I can't go to.
Yep.
I get that. I think South Sydney had to stop going to Perth if there's going to be a Perth Bears.
They are.
I'll go watch Perth play. Yeah,
morning,
you know what I mean.
There's no more Perth.
No more.
I think one of the other no cans. Yeah.
So South Sydney.
They're reining it in, and they're
and I like it. Within the next 2 years, South Sydney will play all their home games either at Accor or Allianz.
Yeah.
It's a start. You know, like it's the yes. If not to make light of not to make light of a vote that we had a little while ago. It's the yes that we've been waiting for that sort of gets us back to Sydney. I like it. I think it's good. I think tribalism, something that when South Sydney was SFS and don't see it a lot anymore at Accor. It's very hard, but the tribalism of South Sydney fans at the SFS was massive. You know, the borough filled a bay, and it was an open door policy. You'd go in and cheer, and you know, Bay 38, either side of Bay 38 was just full of South Sydney fans and flags, and I think that's going to come back. That gets lost at Accor. The way the ticketing system works, you've got to be sort of a borough member to get in there, and it's just and from what I've heard, it's more an Accor problem than a South Sydney problem. So I think we're going to see over the next probably 3 to 4 years a better, you know. I love Allianz. I think it's one of the greatest. I think it's a great ground, and the way it's built and everything.
It was a pity they didn't go with the original. I think it was going to be 60 or 65.
Oh, 60-odd thousand with a roof would have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you see what it looks like now, and you go, wow.
That's great.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's for the future of South Sydney. It's smart. I think taking games away, I get it. You know, like taking the North Queensland game to Cairns would get us more fans in Cairns than it would in Sydney. It's about building tribalism and about getting South Sydney fans to get their butt on a seat. And now that we got the tick of approval, South Sydney fans, we have to turn up to that game. We have to turn up to the games.
They're going to be targeted. Obviously, the Roosters game will be there. And I think the big games with clubs that are Sydney clubs essentially. And from what I heard, they're still going to take on the Bulldogs at Accor.
So part of it is, so this year South Sydney got approval to take one of their games to Allianz. So they took the Roosters game. Fair enough.
No, I thought it might have been 2. Maybe I might be wrong on that.
Oh, it could be 2 actually. 2. It could be 2. I know they got permission for the Roosters one, and there was some negotiation last year. It might be the Para game.
Okay.
Because they've played Para at Allianz traditionally in the last couple of years. I haven't looked at that closely. I think as part of that, I think what South Sydney and the Dogs, to be fair, have built at Accor together as a
Good Friday.
That Good Friday match, that's electric.
Well, that's not far away.
That is massive, and that's South Sydney's next game.
Next home game.
Yep.
Because they got the bye.
Because they got the bye this week. So, so for South Sydney and the Dogs, I like that reciprocal rights.
That's a traditional game now.
Yeah, and what South Sydney do with the Dogs is they have what they call reciprocal rights. So if you're a South Sydney,
much sense.
Yeah, so if you're a South Sydney member, you can actually go to that game free of charge. And same with South Sydney games. The Bulldogs members can come to the South Sydney games. And I really think that's a good piece of goodwill. I'd like to see other clubs do it.
I'd love to see other clubs do it.
I think
I'd love to see the Panthers.
No, but
Get some of
Panthers
that.
are a bit different because I think Panthers get a good crowd. But like for some of those clubs getting 10 to 12,000 a game, why not invite the opposition members into your ground?
Well, I think Panthers fall into that category, Shano.
I just think
I went to all the Combank games last year.
Yeah.
And I don't think that in any of them the actual crowd was even close to what they posted, because they just count anyone who's a member. I know the Roosters used to do that back in the day, and they get criticized for it. I love my club, but I don't like the way they do that. It's just a lie, really.
And the other thing is, so when it actually got quite popular, the reciprocal rights, you had to then go sort of online. And you still got to do it. You still got to go online and put in your expression of interest.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Penrith Para having reciprocal rights to each other?
Well, you'd fill up the
ground, and that's the whole point. Like the Good Friday games is, like the reason why South and the Dogs, if the weather's fine and it's not on a Thursday night, you tend to get really big crowds, and people go, "Oh, it's tribalism. It's too clubs."
No, last year they got over 70,000.
You know what it is?
Was it Good Friday?
It's because I can go to the game.
Yeah.
Regardless of my ticket.
It's a public holiday.
My ticket allows me in.
Yeah.
And if I'm a Dogs fan, my ticket allows me in. I think reciprocal rights are something that the NRL really need to look at.
Yeah.
More seriously, I think I would like to see, in my opinion, clubs pair up. And you know what? You can do it between more than one team, but have where they're going to be big games on either end, and they could be a bit of a grudge match. Why not have reciprocal rights where Penrith Para, Para fans, Para members get their tickets. They just got to go onto Ticket Tech, get it. They get a free seat. They get sat in the Para area. Penrith members still get their seats, and I don't see the problem. I'd rather see 20,000 at the game than 12.
Yeah,
and the way things are going, I heard some ridiculous. And I didn't get to Gosford on the weekend. I couldn't get up there. But I was hearing something in the order of $50 a ticket to go.
South or Tigers home game?
It was South.
Right.
And I just think...
It looked was it a sellout?
It was, yes, it was. But still at $50, that's good.
Yeah.
But at $50 a ticket, if that was at Acor, you know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah.
I'd rather, if someone said, you know what extra would you have made if you said at Acor that Tigers members, and I really think reciprocal rights. I remember a day where if you were as a South Sydney member, and this is early 2000s, just after we come back, I think, I could go to most grounds, show my membership, and I got half price tickets.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be. We want people to invest in their club. Part of that investment is the NRL saying, you know what, let's give them half price ticketing.
I think when it's at the big venues, absolutely, that aren't otherwise going to sell out. I can understand a venue like Gosford.
Of course. Yeah,
and you can up the price because you're still going to sell it out.
They get a game
when it's an 80,000 at a core, and I'll give credit to the Bulldogs on this one. They were selling $10 tickets in the bleachers.
Yep.
And a lot of people went, and maybe, they might otherwise. And I'm in a situation where, the cost of the ticket is not deterrent to me if I want to go to a game. But I'm not the majority. There's a lot of people out there who can't just go with families and whatnot. But you put a $10 ticket up, and most people can afford, even if you've got kids, $10. For $50, you can take 5 people.
I've often
That's
said,
affordable.
I've often said that upper tier of A course should be a $5 seating.
Yeah.
Interestingly,
realistically, everyone's like an ant down there. It's the ants playing the ants.
I've just looked at the. I'm just on the Ticketmaster website. If you want general admission on the northern end, which is I suppose opposite to the big screen,
scoreboard, yeah.
Next week, in the Good Friday match, $40 a ticket.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's going to outprice what a lot of people can afford.
Good atmosphere next week.
But you look at the cost. If you want to go to a concert or anything,
100%. Yeah. 100%.
You're paying a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get an absolutely great game, it's a big game.
Well,
Two clubs
both
put
teams
on a good show.
Both teams turn up next week.
Exactly. I think that's value for money.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a decent seat, like you can't be charging that for the bleachers. Like, I don't know whether they're doing the $10 tickets again, but I thought it was a great thing they did last year.
This is South Sydney home game, so I'm not too sure.
Oh, it's in South game.
I'm not too sure what's going on there. So I haven't looked at reciprocal rights, but I know Good Friday. I know
the more the merrier.
I know where I might be worshipping.
There's plenty of time to go to church in the morning.
Go to church in the morning. Do the station to the cross, and then mate.
Yeah, I'll be doing that.
I'll be doing
St.
that.
Charles at Ryde. I think it's about 10 o'clock. I'll check the time.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll be watching the footy in the afternoon.
Fun adventures. I might even put myself courtesy of State Rail and travel down there.
Sounds good.
Because that is one game that is very good to watch.
No, it's massive.
And can I just say,
and you love being at those games where the atmosphere's there.
And can I just put a shout out, because I had someone talk to me 2 weeks ago about Dogs games and fans. I've been to numerous Bulldogs games, plenty in my day. I've been to Belmore, and I know that there was some issues back when I went to the grand final. When I have never ever had a problem. Quite the opposite. I found Doggies fans most affable to talk to. Really there for a good fun day out. Families galore. And because someone said to me, "Oh, you're going to go Good Friday dog game?" I said, I've never had a problem.
Yeah.
I have never ever.
Neither have I.
Had a problem at a Doggies game, and this idea that it was bad press way back when, and I think that
it was about 25 years ago, and there were problems,
and they're paying, and they're still paying for it. And I just think, the club's done so much. I'm going to go down there without any issues. I know it, and I'm going to, and they always produce a good game of footy. I still think back to the Adam Reynolds getting hit by James Graham.
And
you know what? If we walked out of there unscathed that day, not a problem. But it's the Battle of the Birds this week.
What a game. I mean, not what a game in terms of this is a cracker, but so much hinging on this game because the loser, the coach of the losing team is going to be well and truly under the microscope.
Well, I never thought Robinson would be, because it's Robinson. Seabold, on the other hand, if the Seagulls get pumped this week, I do think he's got a little bit to be worried about.
Oh, absolutely.
Nathan Brown is out for the Seagulls. I think that's probably about it. Billy Smith is in named, but for the Roosters, he's in at the centres. So you got Billy Smith, Robert Toyer in the centres. Nawanta Nikawase again on the wing. A lot of scrutiny around him. People saying his head's already with the ARU. I think that's a bit unfair.
No, that's nonsense.
Daniel Tupou, not a lot being said, but he's actually he's looking at how many tries he's scored. If he can get a couple over the line in the next few weeks and keep that up, next year he might be also in line to beat to be up there at number 2 on the all-time try scoring record. I was reading an article this week that was talking about that, and I thought, yeah, okay. Seagulls are basically business as usual with Luke Brooks, Jamal Fogarty in at halves. You've got Jake Simpkin in at hooker, Olakau'atu, Trbojevic in the second rows, and Jake is locking the scrum. Ben Trbojevic, I think he's finding his feet in the second row. Ethan Bullimore off the bench will add a little bit of spark. For the Roosters, it's their defence, and I don't understand it, because you got Robert Toyer, who in my mind last year was one of the best defensive centres that they had. Nawanta Nikawase, an attacking machine, but also defensively sound. Cherry Evans finding his feet still with Sam Walker. Reece Robson and Egan Butcher tightening up. I'm going to put it out there. If the Seagulls score an early try up the middle, Connor Watson will be on, and he may even play big minutes because they need someone to tighten that up. I look at no hate to Sua Wong, but Nat Butcher, I'd be starting him. I just think he's, again, we're about defence now with this side, the Roosters, and maybe that's a more defensive. That would be more a defensive team. Sua Wong offers a lot on the edges. Look, Lindsay Collins and White, they're just going to have to do the hard yards in defence. Luke Brooks, I think, is going to pepper the edges. I think they're going to kick the corners, make them work their way out. Tom Trbojevic starting to look a bit better. I want big things from Jason Saab and Ruben Carrick. I got a gut feeling looking at this team. I think they're both down on confidence, which makes this really hard to pick. I'd usually flip a coin and pick the home side. I'm not doing that this time. I'm actually going to pick the Roosters. I just look at the Roosters side and just think that this might be made for Cherry Evans and Sam Walker to click a little bit. But geez, the forwards have to stand up in defence, and Reece Robson has to lead that charge. If they're putting Connor Watson on early as a defensive ploy, I think that the Seagulls might smell blood in the water. I've got the Roosters in this one, Griffo, with absolutely no faith. What have you got?
Well, I think Robson actually went all right last week. He played his first game for the Roosters coming back from injury. I thought he wasn't too bad. Obviously, defensively, they had some issues, and a lot of them were out wide. But they certainly had issues through the middle as well. I tipped the Roosters this week, mainly more about the opposition than the Roosters themselves.
Fair call. Yes.
Both teams have to win. Manly haven't won this year. They're sitting somewhere decent on the ladder because they had a bye. But they were horrible against the Knights. They weren't too bad against the Raiders, but they lost in Golden Point. But both of those games were at home, as is this one. If they go 0-3 and all 3 games at home, that doesn't go well for their season. I haven't seen enough quality out of this Sea Eagles side. They've got Joey Walsh, again, listed in an extended bench. I'm not seeing too much of him. Apparently he's a gun. I'd be surprised if he actually plays, but if they lose again, I would expect that he's got to come in next week. I'm tipping the Roosters more out of, as I said, I don't think Manly's firing too well. Billy Smith coming into the side for the Roosters is going to help them. I'm led to believe he will be getting a bus, the team bus, to the venue. He won't be going anywhere near an e-bike at Brookvale. It's a very busy road around there, so we'll stay away from the e-bike. But I think, the Roosters looked all right against the Bunnies a couple of weeks ago. They won that game, and Bunnies obviously scored a number of points as well. But I just think, last week they just didn't know what hit them. They started quite well against the Panthers, and Robert Toyer went past Casey McLean to score, and they were on top. But then all of a sudden, there was just the game turned, and the Roosters literally did not know what hit them, and they didn't score another point after that early try. I just think they're not running into the Penrith Panthers this week. They're running into a much inferior opposition, and I think they'll have enough to get them. It's a big game, of course, the Daly Cherry Evans Cup they'll be playing for. Interesting to see how the Manly faithful react. I think he'll get, initially a couple bit, but then it won't be constant. But Manly fans are going to be more interested in how their team goes, and they want to see 2 points. Booing someone on the other side is irrelevant compared to the 2 points that they really need from a win. But I'm going to stick with the Roosters.
Yeah. So, Roosters all round there. Friday, 27th March at 6 p.m. Surprise, surprise, we see the New Zealand Warriors taking on the West Tigers. Some massive ins for the Warriors. Adam Pompey, Chanel Harris-Davido, Charles Nickel Clockstud, and Luke Metcalf, they're all in. Jerome Luai out for the Tigers. It sees Bunty Afoa come in, but for me, what's really interesting is they've named Adam Dwayhe, and I'm like, okay, he might be right. I'm highly skeptical. The big thing for me is if he's under an injury cloud, the person they've got ready for him, Latu Fainu, 5'8", traditionally probably play half. I just find that really interesting that Jock Madden also is there. Well, Jock Madden's not interesting. He's there. He'd be the 5'8". So we could see a Fainu Madden half 5'8" combination. Maybe they're at the point where if a half done Dwayhe's better than no Dwayhe, I'm not too sure. Look,
I'll tell you what's not good for him. The way he plays and the way he goes off the field.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what?
That's really... it's crazy. I'd be resting him.
I'd be resting him because he done a kick last week that brought down Snow. It was absolutely and I don't know why he doesn't do it more often. Like he did these dodgy end over end kicks, kick after kick, and then all of a sudden he puts up one perler that brings down Snow and twists and turns, and you're like, do that all the time, mate. That was almost impossible to catch. I would be resting him. There's a long season ahead, and if they want any chance of doing anything, I'd be resting him. This is not the game. No disrespect to the Tigers, but the ins for the Warriors and the way Warriors are playing in New Zealand, you are not. It will take a monumental effort. I think I'd be burning these 2 points and giving him a break. Like I mentioned, Nickel Clockstud is in at fullback. Adam Pompey also in. You've got Tuivasa-Sheck, Luke Metcalf in at 5'8", Tanner Boyd halfback, Wade Egan comes back as well. You also have Chanel Harris-Davido. He's the last on the interchange bench.
Chanel number 6 is now Chanel number 20.
Number 20, yes, which is very
Smells
interesting.
A bit different.
It does, but I tell you what, Luke Metcalf, he's a cracking rugby league player. Looking at this game, I've got the Warriors winning, probably winning well actually. I just think that they've done some things this season at the very start that really shows that their attack is on song. Andrew Webster really has this team humming, and I've got to take my hat off to them. They're making home count. It's like last year. What we do is we control what we can control at home, and then the rest takes care of itself. And I think what they're doing is they're creating a fortress. The 6 o'clock game over there, which of course a bit later for our New Zealand brothers and sisters, but for us at 6 o'clock, I just think it rain, hail, shine, snow, sleet, whatever they present, the Warriors just do the same thing, and they're becoming a very steely rugby league side over the last 2 years. Look, I've got the Warriors winning. I think they might actually put a stamp on this game and say this is where we are at for the season. Griffo, who have you got in this one?
Yeah, no, obviously I'm tipping the Warriors. Lots of reasons. Primarily, they've got a better team.
That'll do it. You don't need much more than that. You can mic drop now.
It helps. It
does help. It does help.
They've just got amazing depth. When you look at the guys that can't even get into the 19,
yeah,
they don't have a number 19 jersey. I don't know why, but Tame Tuapiki is a gun. I'd have him at fullback. Find somewhere else for Nick Clockle-Sharnstadt. I don't care whether he's on the wing or he's in the centres. But Tuapiki, I'd be picking him. But, Coach Webster, he knows a lot more than I do. He's obviously a quality coach. There's just such depth there. They've got Barnett came back last week from his injury. Metcalf is listed at 6. He's coming back quite early. I can't say anything different to what I said about DeWahey. That, as you said, it's a long season. It's only round 4. I don't know. I'm not looking at his scans or anything else or how he's shaping up. But he wasn't due to come back till about round 6-ish. They've won their first 3 games significantly. Like, they're on top of the ladder.
You got people like Mitch Barnett. Mitch Barnett's coming off the bench.
That's what I'm saying. They don't need to risk.
I looked at it's funny. I was looking at it earlier. Harris Tavita, Tuapiki must be edging his way. Like, could you imagine that guy just coming on 10 minutes, just going, 10 minutes to go in first half, just reap havoc.
I
grab the ball and just run around.
As I said, strip the 2 off his jersey. Just give him the number 1, not 21, because that's what he's listed at 21. But anyway, as I said, they're 3-0. They're leading the comp on for and against. They've been smashing teams. Last week they were very good, but they were up against a weakened Knights team.
Yeah.
To be fair, but that's irrespective. You turn up and you win, and they won well. Tigers, to me, there's a lot of question marks. They've got 3 wingers playing, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taruva, I didn't see the whole game last week. I was at a venue. I sort of had my eye on the TV screen, maybe just before half time. I didn't realise Taruva was playing in the centres, but he's not a centre defensively. Was South, did they target him? Was it down east side? They scored a couple of tries.
Yeah, look, the thing last week, I think for the they got a lot of value when Jai Gray went off on his HIA. They scored 14 points then. 2 tries. Their forward pack. It's really interesting that the Tigers. the Tigers forward pack are so structured and do very well getting meters. It gets to the fourth, and then they want to play Benji ball, where they're just running around and there's no structure. And you go, well, if you flipped it, right, and had more structure, their fringes are fragile. I would have liked South Sydney to actually expose their fringes a bit more last week.
Yeah. I mean, they're badly affected by injury out there.
They are, of course, they are.
Taylor
to be fair,
but
I thought their fringes looked fragile. The 3/4, like that sort of second row to 3/4 line, it really looked. It looked.
But that's not unusual anyway.
No.
Like, they've not been noted for their great defense over the years.
No.
They've always been noted as an attacking team, and they're good to watch. They're entertaining.
Yeah.
You watch a Tigers game, you know it's not going to be like 10-6. It's there's going to be tries scored. I think the Warriors are going to get plenty because, as I said, got big concerns about the Tigers' defense.
Yep.
No Luai, and as I said, I'll be surprised if the way he plays. But if he plays and then gets re-injured,
that's dumb. That is negligence.
That's
negligence.
I know they've signed the coach to.
That is negligence.
For the next 4 years, but that's just stupid.
That's negligence personified.
Yeah. The thing about Latu Fainu is he's also coming back from long-term injury, so there's question marks on him. This is a team that can't really afford to be missing players. 1 to 17, if they've got their best squad, they're capable of winning almost any game. But they ain't going to beat the Warriors.
No, I agree. On Friday at 8 o'clock, we've got at Suncorp Stadium, the Battle of Brisbane. We've got the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Redcliffe Dolphins. That's right, I like calling them Redcliffe.
I wish they'd call themselves that.
Yeah, I wish they would
on,
too.
Boys.
Anyway, that's just me. Payne Haas out for the Brisbane Broncos. Big out. You've got for the Francis Molo's in on an extended interchange bench. Everyone else just seems to be more or less there or thereabouts. There's no real changes for the Dolphins. This is an interesting game. It's a Brisbane home game for those who are wondering. Brisbane played themselves into some sort of form last week. I'm not going to say that they were absolutely outstanding and brilliant, but with Adam Reynolds and Jesse Arthur's back, it's interesting to see what might be produced. They're definitely going to have more direction, and their kicking game's going to be far more on point. I thought last week, I thought their forward pack stepped up, and we were asking for that, and they really did. I thought the game was in the balance, and I was listening to Bellamy during the week, who said that we just didn't capitalise when the game was in the balance. We thought we had the right to win rather than earned the win, and I think that's a fair assessment of the. I think that's a fair assessment of the Melbourne Storm last week. When you look at this team, there's no reason why the Broncos can't do what they can do. In saying that, you've got the hammer in the fullback, Jermaine Osako, Jake Averillo, Herbie Farnworth, Selwyn Cobbo, Nicarimo and Katoa. That's one of the best back lines in the NRL. An established back line. Kafusi comes in as a bookend, so in the starting lineup.
Feliz Navidad Kafusi.
Kafusi. Max Plath, he's really cementing himself. Tom Gilbert's doing some good work. On the bench, Tom Flegler, good people to pull off. Trey Fuller, good people to have on. I've got the Broncos winning because I just think when you've got a team that has Reece Walsh, Karapani, Staggs, Mariner, Mam, Reynolds, Pax, Piakura, Ricky, Carrigan, Hunt, these people and look at Shibasaki and what he did last year. These people should wipe the floor with most oppositions. I got Brisbane winning, but I don't have them winning by much. I just think that the injection of Reynolds will add far more direction to this side. Griffo, what have you got?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you, Shane.
Good, please, because I want a reason to let the Dolphins win.
Yeah. Look, you mentioned a big out.
Yeah.
8 halves.
Massive.
It is. It is a massive out. He is so important to this team. And yeah, Reynolds back, but Reynolds didn't play last week and they won for the first time this year.
Question without notice.
No, it's okay.
On Payne Haas. When I saw he was
Hello,
out,
Hakeem. How are you?
When I saw he was out, I actually, yesterday when I went through a team list, I wanted to ask you this
question.
Thought
he spat the dummy as well?
Well, I want to ask you this question. I think he's a bit of the glue that sticks this team together.
Oh, absolutely he is.
Is him being out going to be a massive blow? Not only for their ability to go forward, but just their mental mindset. The Broncos, absolutely. Are they that fragile now that a guy like Huss being out would affect what they do?
Well, any team is going to be. You look around the dressing room and there's Payne Haas. That's got to give you confidence.
It's got to give you confidence, doesn't it?
Well, he's not there. He might be in the dressing room, but he won't be wearing the.
He won't be
kitted up for the game.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
They're not the same team, and no team is the same without Payne Haas. He's not playing for the Blues. Thinking, that's a big loss.
100%. 100%. Yeah, you're right.
So it's not just that Payne Haas is out, and the Broncos might win. I'm not discounting that possibility, but the team list, they got the Hammer. Now the Hammer, when he's involved, he's as dangerous as anyone in the NRL. Herbie Farmworth is the best centre in the NRL. I think he's better than Crichton overall. Crichton probably a better defender. I think Herbie's better in attack. But it's a stroke match. They're the two best centres. Cobbo at his best, and he's got a point to prove.
Yeah.
He didn't play in the grand final. He got dropped, before they went on their run. At his best, again, and we don't know with Selwyn which Selwyn's going to turn up, but he's a game breaker.
Yep.
We know Osaka's a great finisher as well as a great goal kicker. Avarillo scores tries. Nicarima, very good number 6, and Isaiah Katoa, one of the smartest guys running around in the NRL. We saw what he did last week after a bad start against the Sharks.
Yep.
Where he dropped the ball and then he conceded a try, very bad missed tackle. He didn't kick stones. He won the game for him.
Yeah.
He's quality. You mentioned the forwards before. I won't go through them, but they're tough. They're tough pack. And they can, with Lemuelu and Fifiliaki out wide, again, there's try scorers. You got Flegler on the bench.
Yep.
I can't promise listeners that the Redcliffe Dolphins will win, but I'm tipping them because
you know what, Griff? This game, and as I was going through the team, I'm talking my way in or out of it. I agree with you. This is
if Haas was playing, I would have tipped the Broncos.
Yeah.
But he's not.
You know what the funny thing is? I'll probably tip the Broncos, but be cheering the.
Yeah, I know one person will be cheering. Gordon Tallis will be cheering for the Dolphins. I know he doesn't own the Dolphins. He owns another Queensland club.
He might be.
And he used to be a board member of the Cowboys at one stage. But he'll be he'll have a fin on his head.
That's right.
For the 80 minutes.
Anyway, on Saturday, at Acorn Stadium at 3:00. You know what? I love daytime footy, and this game, the Dogs are just ripe for this, in my opinion. Sees the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs taking on the Newcastle Knights. Hayden Turpin out, Trey Mooney out for the Knights. Interestingly, on the extended bench, reserve bench, Bronson Sherry is named. But really for both teams, it's business as usual. Connor Tracy and Fletcher Hunt. They're at the moment, Fletcher in for Ponga. Connor Tracy had a cracking game last week. You've got Bradman Best up against Stephen Crichton. I'm looking forward to that. Tuala up against Gagai again. I think that's a good one. Matt Burton in at 5'8", Lachlan Galvin in a halfback versus Sharp and Sandon Smith. This could be the game that cements whether that's going to be the Dogs long term or not. Max King looking for a big forward game up against Saifiti, who's captain for the Knights of the Jacob kind. Brazil, Tupanua comes in with the kick out. Tupanua as a prop, kick out in at second row, Jacob Preston the other second row. You then have James Salmon and Croker in as the locks. Really interesting when you look at the bench. I think Kurt Mann, Josh Curran, for the Dogs are two of the mainstays there. For the Newcastle Knights, Tyson Gamble's on the bench, but really the bench for me looks very, very thin. And when you look at the Newcastle Knights, they've been able to score some points, but geez, it's going to be up to Crossland to really tighten up the middle, and Tyson Frizzell with Society doing their thing. I really think Villami Kikau, and Jacob Preston might have a bit of a field day against Lucas and McEwen. But Bradman Best and Dane Gagai, two very experienced players. It's going to be what Stephen Crichton can bring up and how they can put people like Kiraz and Montoya into gaps. Matt Burton's kicking game will need to be on song, and you're going to need to see Lachlan Galvin running at the line. If you took all the Bulldogs smarts, you would think that they've got this game home and hosed. The Dogs just haven't been the Dogs of war of late. The Knights, however, have in periods of games overachieved, and then at other times just shown why we think they're probably going to be cellar dwellers. I've got the Bulldogs winning this one. I actually think the Bulldogs need to be wary because if the Knights get a bit of a roll on, they could be in trouble, but the Bulldogs should win this and win it comfortably, Griff.
Yeah, they should. I thought that Bulldogs actually were very good last week, and I didn't expect them to go down to Canberra and win. But I thought their defence was very, very high quality. The second row, as you mentioned, Kikau and Preston are, they're elite second rowers. Crichton is an elite player in the number 4. Newcastle are missing their two best players, Brown and Ponga. And it's good they've got Fletcher Sharp back. He was listed to play last week but didn't play. They did the right thing and didn't play him, giving him the extra week to fully recuperate from his injury. He's going to be key to the success of this team. You mentioned also another guy who I think has been really good for them at the start of this year, and that's Trey Mooney being out. So that's a big loss up front. What it does see is young Cody Hopwood come onto the bench. Now, he did debut last year. He's a young player, big lad. I think he might have been the captain of the New South Wales under-19s last year. He's a guy, obviously, that is part of the future of this club. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But I think the Bulldogs just be a bit too professional. I don't think they're going to win by a big margin, but I'm going to stick with the Bulldogs at home. They've had two close victories. The key word being victories. They're yet to be beaten this year, and I don't see them being beaten this week.
Yep. Well, a game you're very interested in at 5:30, CommBank Stadium in Sydney, Parramatta, I should say. The Penrith Panthers take on the Parramatta Eels. This is at 5:30. Jack Cogger, Jackson Edgar on an extended bench. Edgar is on an extended bench. Cogger is on the interchange bench. For the Parramatta Eels, you've got Jermaine Hopgood out and Jordan Samrani out. There's a bit of a shuffle going around, so we'll just look at the spine. Iongi is in at fullback, Pezzett Moses, Riley Smith at number 9, Dylan Walker in at 13. I actually like the look of Dylan Walker starting in at number 13. That's sort of where they're at. You've got Simonson, Kelly, centres up against Thomas Jenkins. Well, Simonson's the winger, sorry. Kelly and Russell, the centres. Simonson and Jenkins. Good wing battle. Thomas Jenkins, 4 tries last week. Scoring absolutely at will at the moment. And, of course, Brian Todd up against Anna Carr. I don't know how... I'm not going to talk about Penrith. That's your job, Griffo. I'm trying to hype this game up, and I can't. I just think the Penrith Panthers, this is men versus boys. This is, I don't like that saying too much, but it is. It's just, this is elite versus the class, the distance in class of these two teams is exceptionally wide, and the Penrith Panthers are at the top of their game. They are the cream at the moment, and the Eels have been playing good football without playing great football. I just don't see anything in the Parramatta Eels and anything that Mitch Moses or Jonah Pezza could muster that could bother the Penrith Panthers. I got Penrith winning this one. Griff, what have you got? Of course you got Penrith.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. I do have a lot of respect for the way that the Parramatta Eels can attack. With the likes of, as you said, Moses, Pezzett, Iongi, they're class players. Their forwards are big and mobile. And we've seen damage done by particularly their second rowers. Dylan Walker has been very good for them, but interesting. He's a starter. He's sort of made a name for himself over the last 2 or 3 years as a guy coming off the bench and wreaking a bit of havoc. But they're missing Hopgood. There's a lot of hopping going on in the NRL at the moment.
I like hops as a home brewer. Hops are good.
Oh, of course you do.
Hops are good.
Yeah. Okay, but unfortunately, the good hops of Parramatta, he's out for the season due to that unfortunate injury, ACL, in the tackle of Couchman last week. So terrible for Hopgood. He's not hopping too good at the moment, but hopefully he makes a full recovery. The hookers were very good for the Eels last week after... they didn't go well down in Melbourne, but came back well against, obviously, the Broncos. But they were good again last week. Talon De Silva was very dangerous when he came on. Look, I think the Parramatta Eels will score a a number of points. It'll certainly they'll go way beyond what the Panthers have been averaging in defence. I do expect the Eels will score some tries because there's a lot of they fire a lot of bullets. The problem I see for them is their defence, and Brian Kelly comes back into the team. He didn't play; he was out injured. While Brian Kelly can do good things in attack, he is a defensive liability, and he'll be targeted. Pezzett will be targeted. I just think they're not going to. If Penrith are able to control the ball, they're going to run points in. Para really need it to be an open game, and something like a 36-30 scoreline. But obviously they want it to be the 36.
You know what? If they lost 36-30, I think that'd be the way Penrith are playing. You'd take that to the bank.
Yeah, no, I don't think they want to take a blank check. Nothing. They want 2 points.
Yeah,
they're not going to be hoping on. Just hope we can put up a good performance. Riles isn't going to be interested in a good performance. He wants 2 points.
He needs 2 points.
Well, look, it's not essential they win this game. They've won 2 out of 3. So I just think they're going to throw everything at Penrith. They're not going to hold back because they've got nothing to lose.
Yep.
Like, if you get beat, 40-4, like the Roosters did or something, what's the difference? 36-30. You're still lost.
Yeah.
So they're gonna throw. What they're good at is ad lib, throwing the ball around. They're not going to try and grind. Like they'll just lose if they try and get into a grind with the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Panthers are the masters of that.
Yeah.
And I think they've got enough common sense to work out that they're not going to beat Penrith at their own game. That they've got to play Penrith's game. I'm saying they've got to play to their strengths. I really do think, as I said, that Para will score tries.
Yeah.
As good as Penrith's defense is, I've got to respect for the Eels and the way they play rugby league. It's a good brand of footy to watch. Oftentimes they win, and oftentimes it can sort of blow up in their face if they're going to have to control the ball as well as attack well. But I'm tipping Penrith. The way if they can repeat what they did against the Roosters, then no one's going to beat them.
No.
Now, I don't know that they can play at that level week in, week out, but they were pretty good in the first 2 weeks. I mean, they haven't beaten like the Titans and the Dragons. They've beaten the defending premiers. They've beaten the top 4, Sharks, and then they've beaten also semi-finalists. And a lot of people thinking the Roosters can take out the title this year.
I hear you, brother.
It's been a tough draw.
They've smashed it
so far. But as I said, I fully expect this to be a really tough game for Penrith in that Para will throw everything at them, and I think it'll be a really good game. Actually, I'm tipping Penrith. I'd be surprised if it's a big score in the Panthers' favour. I do think the Panthers will score a lot of tries, but as I said, I do expect a lot of tries from the Eels. I'm looking. I'll be there. What is it? 5:30 on Saturday. First home game this year at Combank. Their other home game was out at Bathurst. So it's been a while since I've sat in a seat at Combank. But I'll be there next week.
Beautiful.
No, this week.
This week?
Yeah, and next week. Good Friday. I think the Storm.
Good Friday.
Yeah, Good Friday. So that's going to be after the Bulldogs play the Rabbitohs. So that's a big day of footy for Friday next week.
For our viewers.
Absolutely.
7:35 on Saturday at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville sees the North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Melbourne Storm. Look, Chester's out for the Storm. Sorry, Chester's out for the Cowboys. My apologies. Interesting. I saw Lazarus in, and you know, if
He's back.
Well, you know, that was the.
Well, it's that time of the year.
That was the Sunday. That was the Sunday reading, wasn't it, on Lazarus? So I thought that was very.
Yeah.
I thought that was very apt.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, I wouldn't have given that time of day, but given what the Sunday reading last week was,
Martha and Mary were beside themselves.
Bringing Lazarus back. The fact that he's on the reserves, I think that's a big.
He should have came back last week.
That's right. Look, this is such a mismatch when you look at the team, either position by position or as a whole. The Storm will be after absolute redemption after last week. They will want to absolutely rip and tear. Could you imagine the week Bellamy would have put them through versus the Cowboys, who are a shadow, an absolute shadow of the former selves of their former self of years gone by. You can talk about plays. You can talk about the Failongo. He's in at fullback this week. You've got Warbrick and Howarth, Meaney, Munster, Hughes. You've got the Stefano, Grant, King, Joe Chan, Alec McDonald, Trent Liero, Tyron Wishard's on the inside. You can Tamakamika on the. It is a mismatch. I've got the Storm absolutely belting the Cowboys this week. Griffo?
Yeah, it's hard to argue. I know it's up at Townsville, and that's possibly the only thing in the favour of the Cowboys. They got a win last week. I only watched the shortened version. I didn't know the score, but everything I heard from anyone who saw the games as a bludger of a game. It's amazing how when you just watch the mini, which goes for about, I guess you get about 17 or 18 minutes of play, that a bludger of the game doesn't look too bad because you miss out on all. They generally wipe out all the unpleasant bits, drop balls and so on. But yeah, they beat the Titans, who aren't very good. Melbourne looked good in the first half, not so good last week in the second half when the Broncos came back and turned a 14-0 deficit into a victory. They're going to be smarting, as you mentioned, after that loss, and I'm tipping them this week.
Yeah. Game I'm looking forward to, because I actually think this might be a cracker. At GIO Stadium in Canberra on Sunday, we have the Canberra Raiders taking on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. Josh Papali'i is out for the Raiders, as is Britton Nakora out for the Sharks. KO Weeks up against Will Kennedy. You've got Strange up against Trindle. Sanders up against Hines. Smithies, Fanua Blake. There's a lot like Starling, Brayley, Tarpany, Hazelton, Horsburgh, Calhoun. Even on the interchange bench, Brayley, Talakai. There's a lot to be had. I reckon the Canberra Raiders would be spewing after last week's game. I really think that one hurt them a lot. The Cronulla Sharks looked like they really didn't want to be there last week at times. They were going through the motions and not playing the footy that we're used to. The thing that last week did for me with the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, over the last couple of years, they've sort of gotten to this narrative where they're trying to build this defensive team. I didn't see it last week. I thought last week they were very loose. I thought they were very loose around the edges. I thought there There was meters to be made on the edges, and I actually thought their defence. I thought when the middle tightened up, the edges let them down. I think the Raiders would smell blood in the water with that. Will Kennedy will need to step up this week, as will Nico Hines and Braden Trindle. Blake Brayley will have to tell people like Billy Burns and Tig Wilton to really tighten up those edges. It's going to be also up to Ramian and Errol to really match up defensively. They're up against people like Sebastian Chris. KO Weeks is there, and he's going to run to the edges. Ethan Strange is going to drive a lot of things, and I thought Ethan Sanders was very unlucky last week not to score that try. That was a brilliant try saving.
I liked what he did.
I love what he did. I thought what he did was brilliant.
On the line.
You know what?
And he saw a gap. There was a gap there, and he had a crack.
He kicked the field goal the week before that he deserved that run, and I would have hoped he takes that 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah.
I got the Raiders in this one at home, Griff. What have you got?
Yeah, I'm the same. Both teams last week probably not at their best, although, in saying that, the Raiders, I think from memory, it was only like a 1-goal difference or something similar to that in the scoreline. I think it was 2 tries each. The last time these two clubs played, it was at the same venue, and it was in a semi-final knockout game last year. And the Sharks, sort of in an upset, they tipped over the Raiders, and I'm sure they're going to lean into what they did on that day or night in September. I can't remember if it was. I think it might have been a nighttime game. And the Sharks went down there and got a surprise victory. I think they'll go in here as underdogs again, because they were ordinary, as you mentioned last week, at their home ground, where against a side a good side, but not a side that you think they're top tier, and they just got humbled. It's both these sides. Most people would have had them in their 8 before the season started. I'm not writing either side off yet, but after this game, one of them is going to be 1-3, and I'm leaning towards the home side. I do think they've got more attack in them. I don't think the loss of Papali'i is that big a loss. He only plays minimal minutes, and I think last week he had 10 minutes off the field due to his indiscretion that he's missing this game for. So I don't think they actually lose all that much. I'm going to stick with the home team, the Raiders. Great
minds think alike. Final game of the round, we'll see the Titans.
Early spoon ball alert.
I was actually about to say it. So I'm glad you put the word early in there, because you made it sound.
We're still in March.
You made it sound a bit not kinder to them. So we've got at Seabar Super Stadium on the Gold Coast, the Gold Coast Titans taking on the St George Illawarra Dragons. Look, you go through the ins and outs. Let me just go through the teams' sort of key positions. Keeney versus Gutherson, I get. So Jojo Fafita is up against Sully. You've got Flanagan, Brimson up against Brimson. Jaden Campbell for the Titans up against Daniel Atkinson for the Dragons. Interesting that's, like you've got, what was it, 2 rounds before they got rid of Lachlan Ilias. So, Verrills versus Damien Cook. Of course, Big Tino is one of the bookends. It's just trying to go through these teams is so. Hame Saleh is on the interchange bench. Khaleesi Haas is also on the interchange bench. They've got Lachlan Ilias at number 18. when you look at the Dragons, it's Tyrell Sloan is number 20. So you wonder if he will come up in any way, shape, or form.
He won't.
No, I don't think so either. It's just,
he should.
Yeah, it's just this really bizarre situation.
Coach Flanagan, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. When
he sees Sloan as a weak link.
Yeah,
which defensively he is, but
sure, but
the guy can actually got X factor.
Gutherson early ball to Sloan, and it's try time every time.
Yeah,
and I don't see, like, mind you, Gutherson has to throw the ball. Last week he was a bit short on that. I would have thought this week the Dragons would have looked at the video and seen how they could have won the game that got away from them. The Titans, on the other hand, in my opinion, they are linear in their attack and defence. They have plateaued, and I don't see how they could improve. And when you can't see how a team can improve, you can only look at how they can go backwards. I have no faith in the Titans. I have little faith in the Dragons. In saying that, because I've got little faith in the Dragons, I've got them winning this game on the back of, I hope they looked at some video footage from last week and saw how they created some overlaps to generate tries. The Titans, on the other hand, I don't know what. I just don't know what they can generate. I got the Dragons winning without any faith. It was just that I'm hoping the video sessions this week highlight the fact that they should have won last week and they threw it away. Griffo, what do you got, mate?
Look, I when I did my tips, I did tip the Dragons. I really don't know who's going to win this game. I really do believe that, along with the Cowboys, they're the three very low-performing teams this year. Last week, the Cowboys played the Titans, so one of them had to win.
Yeah.
The Dragons have been in all their three games. They should have won in Vegas, but didn't know how. They actually led the Storm late in the game at Wollongong and were playing pretty well. And then they got blown away in the last 15, 20 minutes by Suafa-Longo, who got 3 tries in a row. This team's got plenty of heart, but not a lot of brain. They lack X factor. The lineup they've got, I think really Jacob Little off the bench, he's got a bit of X factor about him, but I know Sloan can come up short in defense, but defense, it's not their biggest problem. Their biggest problem is being able to score a try when you really need one. And you mentioned they found overlaps. Well, they didn't find them.
No, they had them. They didn't find. Yeah, that's right.
Like there was a player in the sin bin.
Yeah,
which makes it even more ridiculous that they didn't
throw it,
use the ball.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how. And this is an experienced group of players. They got a few young players there, but most of these guys, a number of them are over 30. I'd hate to be a Dragons supporter because it'd be so frustrating to watch. They've got a strong forward pack. They've got strong forwards on the bench, but they really lack class. I thought Atkinson's been going okay. Carl Flanagan actually played okay last week. But when the game's on the line, you've got to step up. If you're in the 7 and 6, and the 1 for that matter, you have to win the game for your team. and they haven't been able to do it. On the flip side, I think from 1 to however far you want to go, the Titans have got some really good attacking players. Sorry, Shane, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, okay, yeah, my earpods, both of them have lost battery, but
no,
anyway,
got you. You're on.
Okay, all good. I talked about no X factor really in the Dragons. Titans have got X factor. They got Kinney, they got Brimson, they got Campbell. Those guys can break a game open. They've got a couple of good forwards, but I think most of the rest of the team is might sound disrespectful, but I think they're mediocre. They may well win this game. And if it comes down, if it's tight towards the end, I'm backing a Campbell or a Kinney or a Brimson to win the game for the Gold Coast Titans. I don't know who wins the game for the Dragons.
Yeah.
Because in 3 games, there's certainly 2 that were close right at the end. They couldn't get the job done.
No.
So the Titans, I can't try. I tipped them last week, and even when I tipped them, I thought, what am I doing? But I thought, gee, they're playing the Cowboys, who are going like bustards. Spoon Bowl, yeah, I tipped the Dragons. I'll actually be surprised if they win, but both teams are desperate. One of them's got to win. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we only differ on the Broncos Dolphins. You've got the Dolphins.
I did have the Dolphins, yeah. By the way, I'm a dreadful tipster, so listeners, don't.
Not much better. Not much better. Yeah. We always do our best. So, Griffo, that's the week done. Any closing remarks on this week's NRL?
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting round. I don't think we've really got the massive clashes like we had last week, where heavyweight was going up against heavyweight in a number of games. But there's a lot of teams with really a point to prove that are coming up against each other, like, particularly in that Raiders-Sharks game, where 2 teams that went really well last year have started poorly. We've got the Brookvale game for the Daily Cherry Evans Cup tomorrow night. That's just massive in that the losing coach is going to be under extreme pressure, particularly if it's Seabold, because his team hasn't won it all yet. But the Roosters, Robinson's sort of led a charmed life. He did win 3 comps, but that was a while ago. And they haven't made a grand final. And this is a club that says openly, we win comps. And they're not winning comps at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you, listeners. Thank you for being a part of this podcast yet again. Griffo, Chameleon, thanks for being a part of it. As always, honoured to hear your advice and your insights. May your team win, and have a beautiful week, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Enjoy the weekend's football.
We're getting to the point where next week we're going to be talking about Easter. We know after Easter, what do we start talking about, Griffo? We start talking about Origin.
Start talking about Origin soon. Yeah.
That makes me excited. So listen up, stay tuned, be good, everyone. Take care, and bye for now.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.